Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone who's joining today's session. I'm Kasun Pathirana, and today I'll be talking about Modern ERP and Power Platform. And in this show today, I'll be showing a few demonstrations so that we will get to understand more about the Power Platform capabilities. Usually I do sessions with D365 FinOps, but today I will demonstrate 3 ERPs, including Dynamics 365, Business Central, and SAP as well with the Power Platform. So let's get started. So I'm going to just switch off my camera so that we'll have much better speed. So I'll just switch off the camera and let me move into the session. Yeah, so a bit about myself. I'm Kasun Pathirana, and I'm a Dynamics 365 Power Platform evangelist. I work at DXC Technology as a consultant. I started my journey in Microsoft Business Application from Dynamics AX and have experience working with the D365 FinOps or the EX products for 9 years. And I've also got experience in working with both ERP and CRM with D365 products, and it also includes the Power Platform implementations as well. And I do blogging using D365 Bits, and if you want to find me, you can find me in d365bits.com and also in the LinkedIn as well. So if you scan the QR code, you'll be directed to the my LinkedIn page. So feel free to add me in. So if you have any questions or anything like that, I can help you with that too. And I also involves heavily with the community events as well, and also a community lead related to the Microsoft Business Applications. And also I enjoy playing cricket, and also I do running as well. And if you're a fan of any of these activities too, please engage with me. So let's get started. So let's look at the session agenda today. So we will look at what is Power Platform, and we will talk about the Power Platform for both developers and citizen developers. And then we'll look at how modern ERP leverage on Power Platform. So this will comprise of all the 3 the ERPs that I was talking about earlier. So it will have Dynamics 365 FinOps and Power Platform, and it will also have Dynamics 365 BC and Power Platform. And it will also have SAP and Power Platform. So this will be interesting because we will have all these 3 ERPs in one session. And I'll also give you some of the resources, and then we'll have Q&A session at the end. So if you have any questions, you feel free to put it in the Q&A box, and then I'll be answering at the end of the session. So I'll be taking up your questions. Yeah. So let's look at what is Power Platform. So Power Platform basically is the single low-code development platform for Microsoft across Office 365 and Dynamics 365, Azure, and your standalone business applications. So if you see in the image, there's 4 major products that you have: Power BI, Powerapps, Power Automate, and Power Virtual Agents. So these are the major 4 products that we have in the Power Platform. So let's look at what Power BI does. The Power BI actually provides a low-code way to understand and analyze your data, and it helps businesses to take actionable insights. So they can get the actionable insights at their fingertips. So that's what the Power BI helps you to do. And the Powerapps is the no-code, low-code platform, such as Powerapps helps to build new applications faster. And it also provides a platform to create low-code web and mobile applications. And later on, I'll talk about it's not only for the citizen devs, but pro devs can also utilize it. So in the next slide, I will talk more about it. And there are 3 types of apps that you can create in the Powerapps. You have Canvas, Model Driven, and Portal. So Canvas is where you would start with a blank screen and build your applications. And then the Model Driven is where you will start with data, which lives in previously known as Common Data Services, but now it's called DataFlex Pro. So inside the DataFlex Pro as well. So it's much easier to connect to the DataFlex Pro model. And the portal is where you would expose your common data for the external parties to access and leverage on that. So for an example, if you work with Dynamics 365 FinOps, you could actually there's a new feature which comes as the portals that you can enable for the supply chain portal. So whenever you expose that, you can expose that to the external party, the sales order information, so that they can, if they want to create sales orders, they can create from the portal, or if they want to view the sales orders like for your customers, they can do that. So that's one of the examples that I can bring it here. And then we have Power Automate. The Power Automate is it actually makes it easy for us to automate our tasks. And also it includes the possibility of creating, if you heard about the RPA or the robotic process automations and workflows. And it also have more than 370 plus built-in connectors as well. So that's really powerful, because the most of the connections that we do for the BC, FNO, and the SAP, we always utilize the Power Automate connectors. And since the Power Automate has pre-built connectors, this makes a low-code, no-code developer to easily create and build apps, and leverage on that. So if you are creating apps for the like to leverage with BC or maybe FNO, you could actually leverage on this Power Automate and connect it, as I mentioned earlier, and then you can use this to get the data to your Powerapps, and you can build in your applications. And it also helps you in the context of D365 FinOps. It can help you to update, edit, and delete records, and so that's what the beauty of the Power Automate. These connectors are really wonderful, that you can leverage on that, and it's a pre-built one, so you could use and leverage on that. And you don't need to put an effort to create from scratch, because the connectors are already there for you to use it. And next one is the Power Virtual Agent. The Power Virtual Agent is the low-code way that you can create the chatbots, and you wouldn't need actually a data scientist here. I mean, previously, if you want to build a Power Virtual Agent, you would require a data scientist, but any one of you can do that. So you can use the Power Virtual Agent to build the low-code chatbots without much of a hassle, easily. And the Power Virtual Agent is able to connect with the Power Automate as well. So you can create a bot that can answer the Q&A questions, as well as if you want to take any actions, then you can leverage on the Power Automate, because the connectors are there pre-built, and you can use that connectors to connect and then do the actions. And if you heard about the bot framework, if you coming from the previous times on the before the Power Virtual Agent, or the virtual agents are here being created using the bot framework. So if you have anything created using the bot framework and any skills, then you can actually call these skills as well from the Power Virtual Agent as well. So that's another added advantage that you have, because if you are a pro dev, you could get that into your Power Virtual Agent. And in terms of data connectors is what enables the communication between Powerapps and Power Automate, and any publicly exposed set of APIs connectors offers set of operations in the form of actions and triggers. So you can do actions and triggers using the data connectors. So that's what you can that's what will be there. And then you have AI Builder. AI Builder is where you can use pre-built AI models, so you can automate the processes, and also to predicting the outcomes. In the AI Builder, you have two types. You have pre-built one, or you can create the custom ones. And this DataFlex Pro is the one which is renamed from the CDS. CDS is the previous name, if you heard about it, and now it's a DataFlex Pro. So this is the high level of the Power Platform, and let's take a look at is it only for the citizen developers, or is it only for the developers? Actually, it's mainly it started as a citizen developer platform, but it has been grown into the both pro developer and the citizen developer section. So it's a really really nice platform, and it is really advantageous because the pro dev can extend the capabilities using their skills as well. So it's not only for the low code, and it actually can do you can utilize, like if you have a Azure services example. For an example, if you take if you have an Azure services that you have created, if you want to call it to the Power Apps, if you are a pro dev, you could actually use that. So that means that even if you are a pro dev, you have the chance of getting your services or your Azure services or Azure data services, calling the Power Apps and utilize it. So it's not only the Power Apps, but in terms of the Power Platform, so that's it's more complete and more kind of a power platform that can be helpful for both devs as well as the pro devs as well as the citizen devs. And also you have the Azure DevOps, if you see the screen, that you can leverage on. So even if you're a normal citizen developer or a pro developer, you can leverage on that. So that's more about to give you an understanding that it's not only Power Platform is not only for citizen developers, it's also for the developers as well. So these two categories are catered by Microsoft. So if you are in both category, you can definitely still leverage and use it. Yeah. So let's look at the next slide. So next slide, we will talk about the how modern ERP leverage on Power Platform. So let's look at what we have in terms of the Business Central. So that's the top part over here. That's the Business Central. So this is the Finance and Operations, or the FinOps. Then this is SAP, and you can connect all these three into the Power Platform. So using the connectors, you can connect to all to the Power Platform. So that's what you can basically do and leverage on that. So if you look at example like Power BI is actually gives you a business analytics service. Power BI is a business analytics service which provides you to visualize your data, right? And also where you can use your data to get actionable insights. And when the businesses have access to the actionable insights, it adds great business value. Why? Because you can utilize these actionable insights to great value. To give, you can give great value to your customers, because if you have these actionable insights, that you can utilize these and you can make actions which can help your customers, which can bring you profits as well. So that's why it's really important that Power BI part of it for business intelligence and giving you actionable insights. And if you think about an example that if you have an ERP and CRM, and if you want to mash up all this data and then come up with an AI or ML algorithm, and then you need to get an actionable, and you can get an actionable insights doing all the mashup as well. So now you have data lake as well, so that you can, even from the CDS, you can put into the data lake, and you can leverage on the other part of the spectrum of the AI capabilities that you have from the Microsoft, so that you can build a lot of good AI models and ML models, and then that can drive you to get real good actionable insights, which you haven't seen, which you haven't aware of, and which could help you to get more profit and stuff like that. And the other thing is why you need the Powerapps, like why we need Powerapps. I mean, if you're in the modern ERP, what's the reason that we need the Powerapps? So the reason behind the Powerapps is actually a low-code Power Platform, a low-code platform that you can build the applications. And the other reason is that there has been research done by the Gartner and the other leading research institutes, and they have found out like 500 million new apps will be created within the next 5 years. And surprisingly, that we have only built, we haven't built that kind of applications for the last 40 years. So there is a need that low-code application development is needed, because not that the development all the developers that can fulfill the 500 million new apps that is required by the businesses. So there has to be a platform that can help you to develop all these applications. So the Power Apps is where you can develop applications very fast, and even you don't need to be a developer to build it. So even if you're a citizen developer, you can start building applications. So that's the beauty of it. So if you are working with all these ERPs, Business Central, Finance and Operations, or SAP, and if you want to build quickly these applications, and that's where you have to go to the Power Apps. So that's why you need to use the Power Apps. And so that's why we need the Power Apps. And then you might question why you want to have Power Automate. So the Power Automate is where we will use the pre-built connectors, as I mentioned earlier. So if you want to connect to FNO, PC, or SAP, we will use the connectors, the Power Automate. So later on in the demo, I'll show you how we can connect to these low-code and no-code kind of the automation world. And the other part we can touch upon is here that the Power Virtual Agent. So the Power Virtual Agent actually helps us to, so if you think about the current scenario, so the current scenario is actually, it's unprecedented. So if you think about a lot of the services that need to go virtual, so the PVA or the Power Virtual Agent is providing a great platform, because if you want to have your services in virtually, so you might need to get these chatbots, low code, no code development will be needed, and you can create these chatbots with no code, and you will have an agent or a virtual agent that can answer the business questions 24/7, because it's not if you're moving to the virtual, you will definitely need this kind of a service. And if you need this kind of a service, and that's the right product is the Power Virtual Agent, because you can create a virtual agent that can answer your questions virtually and 24/7. So that's a real great advantage, and you don't need that kind of a special high-end development skill to start creating these applications and stuff. So you could straight away go into the Power Virtual Agent and start it. So that's the advantage that you have. So, and then you have the AI builder and the data connectors and stuff. So this is why you need, because even like if you take the AI builders, it has the pre-built, so you can leverage on the pre-built these models as well. And if you want to have an advanced custom build, you can create it, but it's not like the previous times that you need to be a data scientist to create all these applications and stuff. So you can do it, and if you are a subject matter expert, that's the best person. So if you're a subject matter expert, you can actually leverage on these applications and start creating these applications, using this the Power Platform. Okay, let's move into the next part of it. So we'll talk about the Microsoft Business Applications. So let's see what products that we're going to talk about today. So if you look at the Microsoft Business Applications, we have three types: transactional, and analytical, and observational. So the one we're going to highlight today is the transactional, as well as the Power Platform on the bottom. So inside the transactional, we have the D365 Finance, D365 Supply Chain Management. So this is what was previously known as the Finance and Operations. So now it's actually Microsoft split into two products, and you have D365 Supply Chain Management and D365 Finance. So these are the main ones we will be talking about from the Microsoft family, these two. And then the other one is the D365 Business Central. So these are the ERPs that we're going to talk about today with the Power Platform. And then the other product will be the SAP. So we will touch upon that later on. So to give you a high overview of what D365 Supply Chain Management and the Finance have. So some of the modules covers in the supply chain management, like procurement and sourcing, warehouse management, inventory management, sales and marketing. And in Dynamics 365 Finance, you would have account receivable, accounts payable, cash and bank management, fixed assets, credit management, intercompany, revenue recognition, and expense management. So these are some of the modules that you will get in the finance. So this image provides the full complete set of business applications. So if you want to look at all these the business applications, so this is kind of the high level overviews for you to get an understanding what products that Microsoft have. And let's move into the next part of it. So let's look at some of the demos, because I'll show you quite a few number of demos so that we'll get good understanding on the FNO. In this case, FNO and Power BI, but there will be a lot of demos for all the three ERPs coming up. And let's see we can enable the effective actionable insights inside the Microsoft Power BI. So the Power BI can be, this is actually more on focusing on the FNO part. So Power BI, you can actually embed directly into the user experience. If you see on the right side that you have the image, which means that you can actually, Power BI is embedded directly into your user experience and enable your organization to deliver insights to the right people based on their roles and through the analytical workspaces. So when we go into the demo, you will understand more. So you can have these kind of embedded Power BI reports inside the FNO, and you could customize them as well. And the Power BI also can leverage the core transactional data as well, and it surfaces through an Azure data lake as well for the scalability. So there's a lot of features coming in with the Azure data lake so that you can leverage more on that. And but at the same time, that it means you can deliver insight that span multiple applications when you use the Azure data lake beyond the finance and supply chain management. And D365 also has an entity store which is an operational data store that is included with FNO, and you have the aggregate measurements that are star schema, and that is model for analytical scenarios. And the other thing is users also able to pin the tiles inside their workspaces. So these are the workspaces that you can go into the workspaces and pin your tiles on these workspaces. And there are a lot of new enhancements coming with the Azure Data Lake for the D365 FNO. And there are separate embedded reports. For an example, there are separate embedded reports for D365 FNO, such as warehouse performance as well. So there's a lot come out of the box as well. And then you could leverage on there's a new part which Microsoft is taking with the Azure Data Lake. And then once you have the data in the Azure Data Lake, you could actually utilize with Azure Databricks or something like that with the AI capabilities. So that's the beauty of it. So that's why the push to the Azure Data Lake is much more critical, because you can easily leverage on this for the high-end AI transformations, AI and ML transformations. Okay, then let's move into our first demo. So let's look at these examples for this. So this is the FNO, Finance and Operations. This is the workspaces. So you have different kind of workspaces, cost administration. In this case, it will be manage customer credit and collection. So if you see that this is the I think my PowerPoint crashed down. Open it up. Let's move into that. So this is the customer credit and collections. So you will see that If you go to the analytics, all companies, you would see these embedded reports in here. So that's one of the examples that we can provide you for the embedded, the out-of-the-box embedded reports. And if you go to, there's different reports pages. There's a lot of information on the collection and overview, credit overview. So there's a lot of different information for the finance, especially for the finance part of it. Sorry, it's crashing. Let me go to that part. So if you see that in the right side, you have the editing. So you can actually enable for the editing for the Power BI, and you could change, if you have the rights, you can actually change the existing reports by using the right side of the filtering pages. So you can edit it, and this report is actually for the financial overview. So you can see the financial overview in this embedded report. So this is one of the examples that we can bring it in. And let's look at another example. So in this case, that's a Power BI report that we're going to focus on. So this is not a out-of-the-box Power BI report. So this is going to be a customized one. So in this case, we will focus on the warehouse 24. So let's filter for the warehouse 24. And then you have the zone ID. Let's type it in flow. And when you filter that in D365, you can see there are 12 records, and only two of the bins or the two of the locations have done the counting. So if you go to the report and see the counted bin analysis, and if you do filter for the flow, you'll see the 12 number of bins count, 12 number of bins, and uncounted number of bins are 10. So that's one of the examples that we can build. So this is not out of the box one, but it's actually done using the data from the FNO part. So this is one kind of example that we can bring it in. So for you to know how you can extend the FNO with the Power BI. So this is an example. And let's look at the FNO and Power Automate, and let's look at how we can automate our business scenarios. So if you want to automate your business with the Power Automate, then you can actually easily connect to your data from the data sources using the pre-built connectors. So in this case, you have to use the Dynamics 365 for FinApps. So if you see, this is the connector that you can actually use to connect with the FinOps. And if you see this Power Automate flow, that's the create record is the one which is actually using the Dynamics 365 for FinOps, and these are the variables. So that's passing from the Powerapps. So for example, this case I've used the sales agreement creation. So if you are creating a sales agreement, you have to pass that sales agreement classification, value, currency, customer, company, contact, and reference, and the document title if you want to have that, and then you create a record. So to create a record, you'll use these connectors. So that's why the Power Automate, these connectors are really critical, and it's a premium connector as well. That's one thing to be noted as well. That's a premium connector, and you could actually use with the flows, as well as there's something called business events inside the FNO. So you can use with the business events as well. So if you have the business events, you can leverage with the Power Automate, and during the business processes, users who is participating in the perform business actions to complete the tasks that make up the business processes. And business actions which users performs can be workflow or non-workflow related. An example like approval of PO or PR is a workflow action, whereas confirmation of POSO is a non-workflow action. So both these types of actions can generate business events, and that external system can use in integration or alerting scenarios. So I'll have one in the demo coming up with the business event. So the idea is business events, there's business events, and these events are to alert the external parties, and you can leverage on the Power Automate as well. But there's few other ways that you can leverage with the business events, but this is one of the methods. So that's why I'm bringing it here with the Power Automate scenario as well. And if you create the Powerapps, usually you're using the Power Automate every time. Most of the times, you'll be using the Power Automate to the connect for the connection and creating the records, and that's why it's really critical to critical in that sense the Power Automate for us to when it comes to building or when it comes to updating, deleting, or records in the D365 FinOps. Yeah. And let's move into the demo. So in this one, I'm going to show on the sales agreement header creation. So in this example, I will show how you can manually trigger the flow to check a flow quickly. So this is actually a method that we can open up. Sorry for that. My PowerPoint is crashing continuously. Okay, let's get back to this. Yeah, so the idea is creating a sales agreement header record using the manual way. So manual trigger. So this is the manual trigger flow. So if you go to test, you could actually manually trigger it. But this is not how you will do it for the real live scenarios. But this is only for you to troubleshoot, like if you have a big flow kind of thing. So if you want to check with the FNO, this will be a great way for you to test it out. So which fields and field values and all these things, because it's easier to troubleshoot because you're manually passing the values. And so once it's created, you can see that new record coming to the FNO. So that's how you can do it manually, trigger a flow. So this would be usually very useful if you are dealing with a large the flow that you want to check with the fields and stuff like that. If you want to troubleshoot, that's going to be a good way to do it. So let's look at the next example. So this one will be with the business events. This is where business events is providing the capability to alerting or notifying the external systems, as I told earlier. And there are two types, and in this case I'm going to show the business events notifying for the sales order. If you see, I'm filtering for the business events for the sales order here, and then sales order have sales invoice posted business event. So if its invoice is created from a sales order, it will be going back and notifying. So this is the endpoint. So you need to create an endpoint. So the endpoint is use the Microsoft Power Automate. And if you go to invoice for the sales order, when you do the invoice, when you post the invoice, it will go back and update send the trigger the Power Automate and notify. So you could leverage on the business event. So if you see the next part of it, so I'm now completed the order invoice for this order, and let's look at. Yeah, so that's the email. So this is the email that you get once it's been invoiced. So it's been actually triggered based using the business events. So it's a way that you can trigger it. So if you notice here, when the business event occurs, you will pass in the JSON, and then you have the condition to say if there's an invoice account value is there's a value. If there's a null is not equal to null, then it will go through the record and then it'll create an email notification. So that's what we sell when the invoice being done from the sales. So it'll go back and update the respective email on the invoicing part. And if it's not, then it doesn't do any activity. So that's the flow. So that's an example for you to how you can leverage on the business events. And if you want to add in new business events, you can add in, and then you have to use that when a business event occurs. So that's the trigger that you need to use it. Yeah. And let's look at the F&O and the Powerapps part. So we'll see how we can enable the business, how we can enable the Powerapps with the D365 FinOps. And you can create custom entities, populate them with business data using the Power Query, and you can build rich applications. You can embed, that's the best part of it, you can embed the Powerapps into the D365 and F&O, so that comes out of the box. So not unlike the BC, as far as I know, BC you can't embed the Powerapps unless you do the customization, but whereas with F&O it comes through with the product, so you could embed them inside. And you can use Canvas or model-driven apps where I'm building applications. And if it's a complex applications, it can be created for both task-oriented or complex business processes. So if it's a complex business processes, you could leverage with model-driven. But if it's a both task-oriented, then you could probably leverage with the Canvas. So that is kind of the example that we can give. And you can also create portals using Powerapps portals. So there's one out of the box, that's the supply chain management portal, which Microsoft built in. So you can leverage on that. Or if you want to have something created, you could still use the Powerapps portals to do that. And this is how you can insert the Powerapp if you see the image. So if you have to give a name, and that's the app ID, you have to copy from the Powerapps. And then you can give an input data for the Powerapp if you want to filter by the input, or and you can also decide whether the application will be wide or not. So that's up to you. And this is the kind of example that we can give. Is a PL label generator. Later on, I'll come to that example in the BC. And this one we can do from the F&O as well as BC, the same kind of example. And let's move into the some demo scenario, which includes the AI builder in this. So example of a meeting a new contact, because normally the businesses today are collecting more data than ever before, right? So so the thing is, like if you meet a person today, so the meeting a new contact and exchanging business cards, so that's been the usual go-to, the normal process, right? So once we, usually what happens previously, if you meet a person and if you exchange the business cards, you go and manually create that record, right? But now if you use and leverage on your Powerapps, what you can do is you can scan your business card and then edit and confirm from the Powerapps, and then you can use the AI builder to capture the details using the business card reader. So that's the out that comes the pre-built AI builder, and then you can run a Power Automate flow to update back the F&O contract record. So that's why I'm using the Power Automate flow. That's where is the part which connects with the F&O, and then it update or create. In this sense, it's a creating a new record, but you can do the update, create, and delete actions as well. So that's what we can do in this scenario. And let's look at the demo in action then. So this is the customer's account, and then you can look at the contacts. So there's no contacts in this way for this customer. So what we can do is, maybe let's say you have met that customer, you got that business card, you can go to the select customer. So you select the correct customer, and you will scan that business card. So this is the example of a business card, and then you'll capture all the data. So maybe if the capture is not that correct, in this case the last name is not that correct, so you still can go and edit it, and then when you save it, it will go back and run the flow, the Power Automate. So the Power Automate will go back and update the F&O. So if you go back and refresh the F&O, you will see that record here. So that's the contract record. So that's exactly what you have seen in the business card when they scan, and that has been updated back to the FNO. And so that's how you can do that part. And let's look at another one. So in this case, we have example is the legacy application, legacy code. So probably when you're moving from another system to D365 FNO, probably you need to get that legacy code coming in. So how would you do that? You could manually create that legacy code here, because in the update platform update 13, this new feature addition came in so that you can add it into the entity. So you wouldn't need a developer to do that. And open up. Yeah. So what you can do is you can add that custom field, and this is a new feature which came with the platform update 13. You could select that custom field, example the purge table in this scenario, and then you can select that legacy code, and then you can say that it has to be enabled. So if you enable that and apply the changes, so that field will be there. And then you can, this field will be exported. So once you do this, it will be exposed in the data entity, and you can actually call it in the Powerapps. So if you go to the Powerapps, and then if you try to put this entity, you will have that value there. So that's what you can do with this. And if you click on the search legacy PO, and you can filter by, in this application you can filter by this old legacy code. So if you notice that previously you have that legacy code field created and that the value is there, so if you want to filter in, you can filter in as well. So that's the beauty. So FNO feature is there so that you don't need developer if you want to have a simple field, not a complicated complex logic field. That's the text field kind of example. So you could actually leverage on this new feature, and then you can expose it to the Powerapps, and you can use it, right? And then next we look at the Power Virtual Agent. So let's quickly run through the Power Virtual Agent because we have a few more demos to show. So I'll just quickly run through this. So what we can do is, in the Power Virtual Agents, as I mentioned, you can improve the customer experience with using the PVA, and you have the ability to build the low-code intelligent bots as well. And then if you have experience, you want to improve the customer experience, so then you can use the LUIS as well. And also you can connect with the pre-built connectors, as I told you earlier. So you can actually do that, because you can, if you want to do any action, you can actually do this part. So that's the action part, okay? And so this is the kind of a chatbot you can have, and let's look at it in action. So this is the chatbot. So it has the confirm ship date. So I'm showing two different sales orders, 707. So that's the confirm ship date. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna create a bot to get those data, or the dates inquired. So let's say hi to the chatbot, and then the chatbot comes and replies you back. Hi, I'm virtual agent, and how can I help you? And it will give you some options. So whether you want to ask the sales order status or confirm ship date. In this scenario, I want to inquire the confirm ship date. So it will be asking the company code. So I'm going to provide the company code, and it will ask for the sales order number. So let's type it in, which we check it out earlier. So that will be 001710. So in this case, it will go back and fetch the data from the FNO, and then it'll bring you to the actions. That's the action it's taking. It's actually using the Power Automate to do that, right? And then you can say it will ask you whether you want to do another query or not. You can say yes or no, and then if you say yes, then it will give you the options again. And then again you can enter it will ask for the company code, and then you can enter the company code. After that, it will ask for the sales order number as well. So it's nice and easy. You can have this kind of a conversational kind of a bot built in using the Power Virtual Agent, and then so again it will give me the correct date. And then if you say I don't want to do another query, then it will ask, did that answer your question? You can say yes, and then it will give you to rate your experience. So that comes out of the box. This part is out of the box, so nothing changed in that sense. So yeah, you can say you can complete it. So that's an example for a chatbot that you can create with the D365 FinOps records. Okay, let's look at another one, which is the Business Central and the Power Platform. So let's quickly look at what is D365 Business Central. So the Business Central is helping for you to have the small to medium-sized organizations, and it shares the data seamlessly, and it enables you to manage financial data, sales, service, and operations as well. So, so this is the medium-sized organizations can be used. So there's a few things that financial management, project management, operation management, reporting, analysis, supply chain management, and sales and services. So you could do these ones, and then you can also leverage with the Power Platform. So that's what we were gonna talk about today. More on that. So let's see how we can leverage with the BC Business Central and the Power Platform. So you have the ability to build the low-code applications using Powerapps, and then you can leverage with Canvas model-driven node portals. And example, similar like the FNO, the finance and operations, we have these two Business Central. In this case, the Business Central, we have two connectors. So one for the on-premises and one for the cloud version, right? And then if you talk about the app sources and stuff like that, you have the apps for Power BI. So you could use these out of the box that gives 3 apps. You can have the sales, finance, or item related Power BI apps that's been there, and you can leverage on that. Or if you want to build a new one, you can go in and build a new Power BI report as well, because usually these scenarios, these out of the box will not cover your scenarios, so you could leverage and create it. Okay, let's look at this example. Probably I'll go to the system and show you in this instance. Let's look at Business Central. So this is the Business Central, and what we can do is let's create a new app, and let's go to the Canvas app. So let's create a Canvas app quickly to show you the capabilities and how we can do. Yeah, so that's been creating an app, and you can select the common data service, the phone layout. So we'll go back to the connectors. So then we'll select the connectors. So there's 2 connectors, Business Central and Business Central on-premises. In this on-premise, if you select on-premises, you have the web service URL, username, and password. But I'm going to do the cloud version. So I'll select the Business Central, click create. So once you click create, it will go back and find you so it will go back and find you the company. So which company? So how do you look at the company? So if you see here, you have the company here, and I'm select the Kronos USA, and then select item in this instance and click connect. So behind the scene, it will connect 3. This is the out of the box creation of the Powerapps, and later on I'll just show this, and then if you want to build the application, you can try this method for the testing part, and I'll show you the one I built it after this activity. So this will build the application. So that's the one. So if you see, I can go back and play. Yeah, so this is the demo. So let's say I want to edit maybe, okay, let's look at this data here. Like sales, I would say item. Let's look at the items here. So the current name is des demo. So maybe I'll change this to BC. Yeah, you can change to any name. Just wanted to show you the update here. So if I refresh back this one, so the description will be updated. So I'm writing back to the VC. So that's what I wanted to show you. So I created an app quickly just using the tables, existing tables, and then I'm updating back the Business Central as well. So that's but if you want to create for a practical scenario, you would have to do a lot of things, but this is out of the box. What if you want to use and try it out, this will be a great way to start. So if you see, that's BC, so that's been updated, and let's go back and see what we can do more. So if you want to probably see the stock, because here we have the stock quantity on hand is 6, so if you probably want to add in that and see how that would look like. So let's see the field, which one we want here. Okay. Yeah, it's inventory. So if you see that inventory field, so this is the value coming here, right? So you have the item. So if you go back and double check, is the quantity 6, so that's quantity 6, right? So that's how you can edit field, edit it. So this is a simple example how you can create a basic application. So I'm just going to close it so you can try it out once the session is over. Let me show you what I have built in. Let's go and create a label generator application. So what this will use is this will take the data from the Business Central, and then you would be, if you work with the ZPL labels, like in the warehouses, usually you have these ZPL labels, printers. So this actually, what it does, this application will take your item details and help you to get in the ZPL label image. But if you want to extend it, you can extend it to for your for the printing part as well. So let's start. So let's look at the same item. So that's the item, and then you can see that image has been given. So this is actually the ZPL image, but if I want to see the full image, I can click it in. So that's the item and item number, item name, and the inventory quantity. So sometimes you might have single label, or sometimes you have multiple labels. So that means multiple labels means maybe you will print by the number of quantities that you have, or you probably want to have single, because if it's a maybe meters, like 50 meters roll, then for the whole roll you will have only one label, so that's a single label. Yeah, so depending on that, you can define and design these kind of things. So that's an example that what you can do with the Power Platform. So that's a small little app, just help you to generate the ZPL labels and see and view it. But if you want to further enhance it, you can do that. Yeah. Okay, so that's a good one, and then we still have some more time. So let me probably show some part of the Business Central. I was talking about the out of the box applications as well for the Power BI. Let's say connect. Let me try to. Okay. Okay. Yeah, sorry, team. Yeah, this is the out of the box one, so you could actually use and see what comes out of the box and see that these applications. So let's see. Yeah, let's see the report. Let's see how it is. Yeah. So we have these sales opportunities, opportunity dashboard. So yeah, there could be different reports. Let me try probably. Let's try another one. Yeah, so this is the finance one. So you have the financial dashboard. So you could connect to that, and you can get how you can get it. You can go to the this, and then you can go to the Pawerapps, and then you can filter for the Business Central here, and then you'll have all these three. So that's the out of the box three of them which comes, and you can see how it works with your data. Okay, that's quickly on that. And then if you work with the Power BI, you could leverage on the web services. Yeah, you could leverage on the web services and connect it. So yeah, so that's I think enough for the Business Central. Probably I'll move back to the slides and go through the SAP part because I'm almost overrunning it. Yeah. So what is SAP? Okay, SAP. Let's look at the SAP. SAP is our enterprise resourcing planning software, which was built by German company SAP SE, and it has its core systems, applications, products, and it's founded in 1972. Now, if you look at SAP for S4 for HANA, so that's the main one. If you notice these days, so it's R2 to R3 to S4 HANA. And there's a lot of things that you can do in SAP as well, similar like the FNO and the Business Central. And let's look at what we can do with the SAP. So you have the ability to build low code applications with these, and you have to use the BAPI to connect with SAP. That stands for the Business Applications Programming Interface, and BAPI actually allows you the third party applications to interact with SAP Business Objects. And if you use SAP, the BAPI, in my example, I'm using the BAPI exchange rate get detail. And this is the example. Let's look at the demo on that. So the high level, what you need to know is that there's a premium connector called SAP function, and what you will leverage with the using the BAPI. BAPI is the one which we will use to collect the data. So example, in this function, you have the BAPI exchange rate get detail. So if you use this, it will give you the exchange rate detail. And you might ask if is it only the standard BAPI that we can use? No, you can customize as well. So if you want to have something added into the BAPI, you can add it in by customization. From the SAP, and then you can expose it in the Power Automate and utilize it. So that's what you can do, right? And so that's the part how we can leverage with the SAP. Let's look at the demo. So let's look what we can do. In this example, what we have is the from currency and the to currency, and the exchange rate. So what we do is we will define the from currency. We'll give a from currency value, and we will provide a to currency value, and then it will go back. And when I click on the check, so in this case USD, and the to currency, we will select EUR, and then once you click on check, it will come back the exchange rate, fetch the data from the SAP. And then I have a slide as well. If you see the slider, which is showing as 50, and it will multiply with the amount. So let's look at it. USD currency is EUR. Let's click check. So it will go back and check from the SAP side, and it will give you the exchange rate, that is the 0.85 in this instance, and it will be multiplying by the slider value, and then it will give you the amount. And if you change your slider, the amount will change. So this is an example only, and what you can do with it. So the response is actually coming back to the Powerapps, and you can show the exchange rate which is coming from the SAP, and then you can do kind of a change on the amount by using the slider, and then you'll have that amount. So that's an example for you to see the capabilities which we can do with the SAP, and this is the flow. So what we have is the Powerapp, and then the variables that we are passing in here is the from currency and the to currency to the SAP, and then you could also pass the date as well. In our scenario, we are using the current date, so that's why the date is not there, but you can pass the date as well. So then if you pass the date, then it will fetch the exact date that the from currency and the to currency that you're checking for. And then once it runs through, you can get the response back to the Powerapp or the flow, right? And let's quickly check on the parts on the SAP bar side. So let's see the SAP. So if you go back to the SAP and check in the SAP, you'll get the same value as well. So let's see that part. So if you say BAPI exchange rate, that's the one which we used, exchange rate get detail. So you use the BAPI exchange rate detail, get detail, and then you display, if you try the test execute, if you try the test execute, let's see the test execute part. Yeah, so then you can give the rate type from currency to currency and the dates. So let's look at that. Yeah, so you can give the rate type M from currency USD to currency UR, and then you can give the date that you're checking for. So then you'll get that the rate. So once you've given all these data, then what you can do, you can execute it. Yeah. So once you execute it, you'll get that value. So if you notice that 0.85, so that's the one which we see earlier as well, which the Powerapps took and show it to us in that example. So that's how we can leverage with the SAP data. So that's another the Power Platform. So the Power Platform use the connector, the SAP connector, and it's in preview at the moment, and you can leverage on the SAP connector in the Power Automate and work with the different scenarios. And the other thing is, like previously with the SAP, you wouldn't you wouldn't have that capability if you are working with the Office 365 to get more data and stuff like that. But now you can leverage it. So yeah, and also I should be especially thankful to my friend Izuru for connecting with me for the SAP part for the demo as well, and thanks to him. And let's go to the resources. So these are the resources, and if you want to connect with me, so this will be the slide again. And thank you. Let's look at any questions. I think I overran 3-4 minutes probably. Sorry for that. Yeah, I think I'm finished, and probably I'm open for the questions. Let me see if there any question. Is there any question, Nadia?
Yep, so we've got a few questions that have come in.
Okay.
They've asked about the session being recorded as well. So I've answered that one, and yes, it will be. It'll be put onto our YouTube channel, and there are a couple more as well. Are you in the question section?
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. Yeah, Faisal mentioned custom fields are not recommended to add. These do not align with the other environments. In case you want to move this custom added field to, yeah, correct. So if you want, you could you can add it in the production environment. So I've also raised this question as well with the Microsoft. So these actually, so that you can actually add it in the production environment. Otherwise, if you move the environments, you wouldn't see that fields as well. In terms of, I think Faisal asked another one, can talk about the licensing more for AI and chatbot. In terms of licensing, I think we have to look at the Power Virtual Agent licensing. So that's what's going to be the one. If I'm not exactly sure on the costing, let me probably find it out, because it's based on the sessions, number of sessions, and pricing. Let's see the pricings. Yeah, so that's the pricing for you. So Power Virtual Agent, you have thousands per month for 2,000 sessions. So that's the pricing part. And the BC also use BC also you can use the CDS databases as well. There's a way for you to connect with the CDS. So you could use the assisted setup and then enable the CDS with the BC. And approximately what does pricing look like for there's a lot of pricing questions. So the pricing, I'll find the D365. You could go into the pricing section on the Microsoft site, and then you could look for the pricing. So I'm showing here the Sales Professional, Sales Enterprise. So likewise, you can find it for the other products as well. Power Automate seems very similar to SharePoint. Sorry, there's another question. What services do Power Automate connect? Yeah, there's more than 370 connectors. So there's lots of connectors that you can connect to. So like the LinkedIn, that's like the LinkedIn Kaizala. So there's lot more, lot of the services that you can connect with, and especially the Microsoft ones out of the box. There's a lot of connections as well. And let's see other question. What service? Powerapps seems very similar to SharePoint Designer 2013. What's the difference? I haven't worked much with the SharePoint Designer 2013, but yeah, it's an actually drag and drop kind of canvas and environment on the Power Virtual Agent. So you could easily Power Automate is a drag and drop environment. So you can actually drag and drop you can easily build the Power Automate. So it's very easy to work with. You just add in your connectors, and then you design your the automation using that. I haven't worked much with the SharePoint Designer part, so I'm not sure is it exactly the same or not. And yeah, thanks Faisal, thank you. And yeah, I think that's more or less all the questions. Yep.
Okay. Awesome, thanks Kasun. I'm just going to give everyone a quick update on any upcoming events. So let me just share my screen quickly.
Yeah, sure.
Awesome. So thank you everyone for joining today. As I mentioned in the beginning, we will have this session recorded and uploaded on our YouTube channel. If you do want to see any of the other events that we are hosting, you can follow us on our meetup page at meetup.com/Microsoft Reactor Sydney. You can also find out some more information on our Twitter page as well. We do a lot of global workshops on Tuesday mornings and Tuesday evenings, as well as running our local content here from Sydney. If you do have any questions about the Microsoft Reactor or how you can get involved, just send us an email to reactorset@microsoft.com. I can also pop in my LinkedIn information in the chat as well if you would like to reach out to me directly there. A couple of the events that we have up and coming this week, I thought I'd just take you through. I've got one tomorrow night called Wait, I Have to Test the Front End Too. So this session, you'll learn about different types of front end tests and find out where you need to use them while we're taken through how to set them up in a live example. We have another session called Azure Reliability and Resilience. So this session will explore what and how both Azure and our customers could work together in a partnership. And then next week, we have another session on Azure API. So this session will show you how Azure API and service hooks enable integration of your own third-party apps into Azure repos, pull requests, sorry, that was my alarm going off, pull request lifecycle to provide insights to code changes and to add value. If you have any feedback on tonight's session, you can leave it on our survey, which is aks/reactor/survey. I can also pop that in the chat for you as well. We do ask that you enter the event code so we do know which event you were talking about, and the event code for this session is 8115. So as Kasun said, and as to everyone on the call, thank you so much for joining us this evening from wherever you are, and thank you, Kasun, for taking the time out and taking us through Dynamics 365 this evening.
Thanks, Nadia. Thanks a lot.
No worries. Thank you, everyone, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye. Thanks.